Hello there, people. I hope you're well. It was a while ago, but yeah, finally I'm back. Um, so in this video, I would like to break down something that needs to be talked about, and that is the truth of the first house, the ascendant, the rising sign. So I recently started to transition to an astrology system called Evolutionary Astrology. And it was created in the 80s by a man called Jeffrey Wolf Green. He's a world famous astrologer, and another famous astrologer that does this, his name is Stephen Forrest, very famous. And yeah, the whole system is based on soul evolution, why you incarnated here, what the obstacles you're here to overcome, and who you were in a previous life, and how previous lifetime energy affects you. So yeah, the approach is different, and the archetypes, they are based on this soul evolution, why we got certain planets in specific configurations and so on. So it answers all the why, and I really got fond of this system. So it's usually those readings I do nowadays when I help people interpreting their birth chart. So the ascendant, yeah, what is the truth about this? So in mundane astrology, the ascendant refers to the personality and body and social mask and so on, but not according to this system, because Jeffrey Wolf Green, he had visions during nighttime in the 80s and got spiritual downloads from a master astrologer from India. And he learned that there's no difference between a house, sign, and planet. They all correlate to the same archetype. So here, the ascendant is the first house, the rising sign. So the first house is associated with Mars. It correlates to Mars. It's the same archetype. So what the rising sign actually means is your instinctual reactions without any forethought. Mars, instinctual reactions. And those instinctual reactions can tell you a lot about your persona, absolutely, but it's not the personality. And I will come to that in a minute. So, um, the first house is how we instinctually engage in a situation, you know, without forethought. It's not a constructed personality mechanism, like it is without forethought, it is instinctual. So, for an example, a Leo ascendant, a Leo rising would engage in a situation, instinctually engage in a situation where he thinks like, how can I take the leadership in this situation? How can I express myself? How can I self-actualize? With creativity, Leo energy, taking the center stage, being a leader. That's the instinctual reaction for Leo rising. But the personality part of the ascendant is, you know, the seventh house, the opposite of the first house, the descendant, because the seventh house represents other people, how we deal with other people, and so on. And that's the persona we have constructed that has been reflected upon to create. So the seventh house for Leo rising would be Aquarius. So a Leo rising's like social mask would be a bit quirky, a bit eccentric, because Leo risings also like to take the center stage. So if they're being a bit quirky and eccentric, they get attention, but they are more, social networking with people, with groups. They have this social mask, this constructed personas of an intelligent person, uh, a scientist, or someone who is into scientific things, and someone who is very communicative and speaks with everyone. But the Leo rising, when they instinctually reacts to situation, it's very fiery, it's very explosive, it's very, how can I take the center stage, how can I be the leader? But the social mag, they hide that fiery nature from people, this dominant leadership role that they can take. It's something. They are more humanitarian, scientific, intelligent, communicative. They want to be in groups. They want to like be a part of a big group. That's the constructed persona Leo rising has taken. So that's the descendant. The seventh house is our social mask and personality, constructed personality. you know Many people might not think who you are is in accordance to who you think you are, and so some people cannot like identify themselves with the specific rising signs, but I believe that is due to that it's instinctual without forethought. It not We are not aware, like a Virgo rising as I am. We are not. We can be like self-reflect a lot and analyze, but like we come into a situation, we are the quiet, reserved, observant one who analyze behaviors and gather data. It's very intellectual. So yeah, that's. And the first house also correlates to Mars. The first house is, it's a new beginning for the soul. It's not something that has been done before. The first house, new beginnings. So the first house is something new and something the soul is going to explore and consciously chase. The first house is how we consciously chase our desires, Mars. So the first house is also where we need total independence and freedom to consciously chase our desires and do a lot of soul discovery, self-discovery. And the rising sign is rising. It's not like it's done when you're born. So it takes time for us to really get to know our rising sign and do a lot of self exploration of what the rising sign means. So the rising sign can maybe be seen in the persona after the age of 30, and because it's rising. And it's soul discovery. It's new beginning for the soul. It's instinctual. It's not a reflected aspect of our personality. So yeah, I believe this was Jeffrey Wolf Green's interpretation of the rising sign and what many evolutionary astrologers follow. And I believe that this makes much more sense, because the first house is Mars Aries. It's instinctual. It's not a reflected aspect of our personality. It's not our social mask. And yeah, in Vedic astrology, they believe the first house is the body as well. But in evolutionary astrology, the body is the 10th house. Capricorn, it's the Saturn, physical form, bone marrow. It's our bones and body. While Cancer, the opposite of Capricorn, Saturn, Moon, is our internal body, emotional body, and all the organs inside. Yeah, I hope I shed some truth to this. And this is something that we should enlighten people about. I haven't seen many YouTube videos about this. And think about it. Just think, like, what does your rising sign mean? And how do you instinctually project yourself? And how do you engage in situations? And reflect upon the seventh house, the constructed personality that we have created in order to deal with other people. All right. Thank you for watching, dear people, and I hope you have an amazing day. And if you're interested to purchase a reading from me where I can use evolutionary astrology to see who you was in a past lifetime, what kind of obstacles you're here to overcome, and why you got all those placements. Why? It's not a coincidence that you have a Mercury in Scorpio, for an example. So just feel free to email me at carlnybrink@gmail.com. I will write it down below. And subscribe to the channel and share the video. And I will keep on making videos about what true astrology is about. Okay, dear people, have a beautiful day. Namaste.